It gives me great pleasure to introduce Gavin Gilmour, who has written screenplays, short stories, and various novels in progress. His work... how many novels in progress?
Oh, this will be the third.
Okay. We've all been there, haven't we? His work has been published in Gutter magazine and Pushing Out the Boat. The piece he's reading today is an extract from a crime mystery novel he's currently writing called The Laird's Throat, set in Aberdeenshire. Thank you, Gavin.
Thank you, and thanks very much for this opportunity as well. The noise from the winch on the back of the lorry is beginning to grate, boring a hole into my head. It turns slowly, gears grinding. Sounds like it could break any moment now. I'm still trying to put the pieces together and figure out what brought us here to the lip of this deep granite quarry in the shadow of tall pines with dew still on the grass. And now Tam Boyd wants to chat. He's not normally the chatty type. You'll be feared for your job, will you? Not really, no. What about the station? Station? Aye, police station in X. What about it? Dunno, Tam, how deep is this quarry? I point down to the rippling water, to the source that's causing the winch to groan. Deep, hoorin' deep. And you saw it sink. It was already sinking. I just couldn't, there were so many brake lights still on, so I thought best give you a call. Tam looks unsettled, eyes darting as if he's been pushed to the edge of the quarry by force and made to look down, suffering vertigo. His nose keeps twitching, small, sharp movements, maybe a tick I've never noticed before. Tam's always been nervy and defensive, that's just his way. You could ask him the time of day, and from his response, you'd think he was under physical attack. It's a characteristic common with a few of the locals around here. It can make it hard to know if they're hiding something or not. Often not, at least no more than any of us. Local bobbies around these parts have always been treated with a mixture of suspicion and doubt. My Central Belt accent doesn't help. The Northeast was remote to me, but this felt like the other side of the world, cut off from everything I knew. It near enough was. Tam turns to look at the lorry and shouts up to the cab, "Talking the load." The lorry driver, a simple-looking man from Skene, turns towards us, his face still expressionless like he's trying to catch flies with his mouth. It's Arthorn water." I peer over the edge again and see that the water is shifting more now, larger air bubbles coming to the surface, a sucking, gurgling noise starting to echo around the sides of the quarry. Tam turns and spits. Something's rattled him, possibly reminded of his discovery. He rubs out his saliva on the ground, his boot kicking up pink dust around us, hands jammed into his dirty boiler suit pockets. I am near sure fit I saw, like fucking thing was sinking fast like. We'll find out soon enough, I guess. You did the right thing phoning me. He rubs the ground more with his foot, keeping his eyes fixed in the dirt as he speaks. Just couldn't someone wasn't reckon, maybe exhaust was still on? Something changes, like I'm slowly melting into the ground amongst Tam's spit. A trickle of fear down my back. I feel immediately stupid, a novice. Should I be calling out emergency divers here, Tam? They nae coming like. The winch creaks, a gush of water. The loon from Skene is out of his cab and checking his winch, then peers over at his catch below. Fucking thing's pulling at me. Tam and I move closer to the lip, lifting our chins and craning our necks to watch it unfold. The car is visible now, still partially submerged. The winch line has hooked itself onto the underside of its rear, just beneath the bumper. A Vauxhall Vectra by the looks of it. The steel wire running from the hook in the car to the lorry looks taut and seems to be vibrating under the strain of its load. Then it gives way. Another rush of water like a jacuzzi had been turned on. The car begins to rise faster now, whatever had held it back no longer was. Tam had taken a few steps back from the edge, hands coming out of his pockets, one of them moving to the back of his head, beginning to rub it violently. His face looked like it had dropped, gone sour and white. I turned away from the lorry and watched the Vauxhall Vectra, now suspended vertically in midair, dripping and bruised looking. It sat swinging only feet above the surface of the water, but close enough for us to inspect it with reasonable detail. The Skene loon's voice was low, almost a whisper, the last recognizable sound from the unknown reality I was now in. What the fuck is that? The rear window had smashed and virtually disappeared. It looked like some horrible joke, a bad taste April Fool's, absurd and crass. It was wrapped in some kind of flimsy tape, gaffer tape or something similar, leaning up against the back seat. Parts of the tape had flopped loose around it, exposing the grey flesh, black and blue in parts, traumatised. I thought for a moment that it was just part of a mannequin doll, damaged and broken, until I saw the gristle of where the limbs should be. Dark red, almost black and torn, a mess of ripped muscle like butcher's meat. It was then I became aware of the sound in my head, a low, rumbling sound like rushing water cascading towards me from afar, becoming louder and more violent, as if somehow a waterfall had started between my ears. I blinked and swallowed like you do when on a plane to make your ears pop, but it made no difference. The sound remained, and the car still hung there, creaking and dripping in front of us. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Gavin. It can be quite daunting reading your work in front of a big audience like this. It was very good. Good luck with the rest of it and finishing it.